Welcome back to Mass Appeal in celebration of Black History Month. The Spring of Hope Church in Springfield will hold its annual Lift Every Voice lecture series designed to raise critical issues that affect our society. This gentleman right here, Reverend Talbert Swan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Seth.
Give us an overview. You've been coming here every year, and it's such a treat to talk to you about it. Kind of tell us what these lectures, this series is all about.
Well, it's really about the celebration of African American history, but really the celebration of American history. Carter G. Woodson thought it would be good for African American history to be talked about, celebrated back in 1926, and what started out as Negro History Week morphed into Black History Month. And in celebration of that, we started the Lift Every Voice lecture series 6 years ago. So we're in our 6th year, and we bring in nationally renowned speakers.
You get big names.
Yeah, from all over America, and we bring them right here to Springfield and expose them to the community, and they give them some very good information.
And you know what I like to, and going over the titles for this year, they're conversation starters. It doesn't start and end at the lecture series. You go and then you bring that to the workplace. You bring that to your school, to your church, and get the conversation started, because that's what it's all about, and that's what we need to do as a country.
Absolutely, to stimulate folks to think critically and to challenge them into action to make it a better place for all of us to live in.
It's a very good point, because so let's start it off. Race and justice in the 21st century, that's how we're kicking off this series.
Yes, Julianne Malvo, President Emerita of Bennett College, CNN analyst, author. She's coming and she's talking about race in America. She's an economist, very critical thinker. She's going to have a lot of information, and she's really going to challenge us. And
these events, they are all at 6:30, and that's at the Spring of Hope Church. That's on Alden Street.
Absolutely.
Easy to get to, great, easy parking, and then the conversation starts. And then, you know, who's to know when the conversation lets out, because people are going to be talking about this for a while.
Oh, absolutely. And we kick off on February 9th, that Tuesday, with Julianne Malvo.
The next one up, social justice in the modern era. The fire that Ferguson ignited.
Yeah, that's February 18th. Reverend Michael McBride, who was very active in the Black Lives Matter movement, he was on the ground in Ferguson talking to the young people, talking to that generation of new activists. And he's going to be talking about what Ferguson means, both in terms of what happened locally and how it affects communities across the nation.
And lastly, it's Beyond Charleston, American Terrorism Against African Americans. What's that all about?
That's February 25th. Dr. Yolanda Pierce from Princeton University. She'll be talking about the Charleston massacre, and she'll be talking about the history of lynchings and terrorism against African Americans, and how that has continued into the 21st century, and what we as a society need to do to mitigate that problem.
I can see how important this event is for you. Why, in your estimation, should people out there, maybe people who are on the fence, why should they go?
Well, they should go so that they can, one, be exposed to some very critically thinking minds, world-renowned people, but also to be challenged by the subject matter and to learn how we interact with one another to deal with these very interesting and challenging topics.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for doing this series. It's what we need. We need more of this conversation. If you want more information about this series, levoice.org, that is where you go.